Track Boys Podcast. Track Boys Podcast.
What is going on? Welcome back to the latest episode of the Track Boys Podcast. I'm Clayton Murphy with your other host, Devon Allen, back at you guys with a great episode this week. Super excited to be here. What is going on, Devon? What's been up with you this week? I mean, it's Monday today we're recording, so it's been a couple of days, but what have you been up to since we got to sit down last?
Yo, what's up, everybody watching the podcast? Thanks for the support last week. Welcome back to episode 2. Like Clayton said, we're back at another episode, and I'm actually back in Maryland where I train full-time now. I was back home for the last podcast. I had a couple things I needed to take care of back home, but now I'm kind of back into full training mode, getting ready for this week coming up. Obviously, Clayton, you know, because we're both going to the same meet, but Drake Relays is coming up.
Yes.
So, but yeah, I mean, other than that,
real quick,
well.
I circling back because my intro was horrible because I didn't thank you guys either for the support on episode 1. So, like, for you guys to know, I guess a little bit of quick background. This was like an idea that I had spin off of when we were both streaming. I said, Devin, let's do a podcast. Let's make it authentic. Let's make it about track. Let's make it like who we are. And it was very much who we are because it was very much thrown together at the socials last minute. We didn't get a chance to preview it, but we wanted to get it out to you. We wanted to get the ball rolling. We didn't want to keep kind of letting things kind of drag along. So we did it, and we got it out, and we really appreciate everybody supporting us on episode 1, reaching out. The comments, the DMs, the shares, all that stuff is awesome support. So really appreciate that. So I've dropped the ball again by not thanking you guys for that kind of support on episode 1. But let's circle back because, yeah, we both had, you traveled. I had 2 sports card shows over the weekend. We're both still training. I've got a flight in like 12 hours for Des Moines as I race Wednesday. We'll talk more about that later, but things are good. Training's going good. I hope things same with you. Training's going well, and I'm excited about the week.
Yes, don't just glide over that. Tell me how the sports card thing went this weekend, because I know you have that little side business that you've been doing. We mentioned it in the last episode. Obviously, we have hobbies of our own. So give us the little rundown synopsis. Did you get a Zion? Like what did you get?
Yeah, so, well, for those of you who don't, like we said, those of you who don't know, I do like a sports card side business on the side. Medalist_sports cards on Instagram. Go check it out. I do a podcast over there once a week as well. Just because Ari gets tired of me talking about cards to her, so I have to like talk to you guys about
real
it.
Real quick. You know what we need to do is hopefully we get our editor to kind of like put some flames on the screen and then put your Instagram handle for that. Poof.
That's it. Like my scrolling through the Instagram,
yeah.
Like come on, our editor, we got that. But yeah, so like I set up at 2 different shows. The first show Saturday morning and then Sunday morning. The Saturday morning show was put on by an Instagram dude who breaks on Instagram. And for people who don't know what breaking is, it's like when somebody buys a box and then you buy into the break. So you buy teams or random teams. It makes opening packs like way cheaper than buying a whole big box of cards and you paying and taking the huge gamble yourself. So the show Saturday was a lot more of the Instagram crowd, it was a lot more of the hip crowd. I guess the new stuff, kind of more of what I do, the Zions, the Ja Morants, the Patrick Mahomes, the Joe Burrows, the Justin Herberts of the worlds versus the older vintage stuff. And did really well, did a lot of trades, actually sold a lot of Zion. So I actually went to a big show in March where I bought a lot of Zion Williamson stuff and flipped probably like 60% of what I had over the weekend into different things. Got some LeBrons, sold some stuff for cash, just different trades. But it was a really good weekend. Made some cash, made some good trades, and I mean, I'm in it to make the money. Obviously, I mean, everybody likes making profit, but at the same time, it's just kind of a way for me to spend time. I've kind of given up. I don't play video games as much anymore. I really just spend time on doing sports cards. I watch sports, follow sports. I mean, that's all my Instagram and Twitter is. Beyond friends and track and field is other sports. So I might as well try to make a little money off of that and enjoy the hobby that I used to do as a kid. So, it was fun. It's probably like my 5th or 6th shows I've set up at, and every time I kind of get more efficient with it, a little bit better with it, and I'll probably do one more in May before the trials.
So I guess my big question right now, because we talked about it a little bit this weekend, is one, what's the number one card that's being sought after, kind of in that space? Like, if you can get your hands on this card that's just going to be valuable in general? Like, what is everybody ripping for? Like, is it a Joe Burrow still, or is it a Zion still, or is there a new guy? Like, obviously, I think Panini actually doesn't have any rights to the Ball brothers, right? I think they're with Topps, or can you correct me?
So Panini has rights to the NBA and the NFL. Topps has MLB. So what athletes do is they sign with the card companies to then put their autographs on cards. So LeBron James actually is with Upper Deck.
Okay, yeah, makes
so sense. LeBron James will never have an autographed Panini card, but he has autographed Upper Deck cards when Upper Deck used to make NBA cards. So they have like the Ball brothers. I'm not sure who they're signed with for autographs, but they do have Panini autographs, so they have to have some kind of arrangement with Panini. I'd say like right now in the NBA, you're kind of still like if you're ripping like new product, you're obviously looking for LaMelo. I mean, he's like the dude right now as far as that rookie class. If you rip back towards 2019, 2020, you're obviously looking for Zion. I mean, the dude is living up to the hype. If you're going football wise, it really is your boy Justin. I mean, Justin Herbert is like the dude to go after when it comes to that 2020 class. They're still releasing product from that year because of COVID and delays. So like Select Football, which is probably a top 3 or 4 product in football, just released. National Treasures, which is one of the biggest products, released last week, and I actually saw a big dude out of Columbus rip a box open and hit a $40,000 Justin Herbert card.
Yeah,
and it was only numbered to 99. So imagine what the I wonder what the out of 50 and the out of 25s and the 1-of-1s really go for. I mean, so yeah, Justin Herbert, Zion, LaMelo are probably your 3 hip dudes, but I would be buying guys like LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Michael Jordan right now. They had a huge run up in January, February, and have come way, way down, and it's just a matter of time before people see that their prices are too cheap and start going up again. It really plays like a stock market. You've got your blue chip dudes, you've got your Kobe Bryants and your LeBron James, you got your Apples, your Disney stocks, and then you've got your Nvidia and your fun Tesla little stock and Zion and Ja Morant and Justin Herberts that are way riskier, way more fluctuation with it, way more trades, but at the same time a little bit you don't know what direction it's going to go once you buy it.
No, for sure. And that's, I might have to hit my boy up. I might just hit Justin up, see if he has any in his closet or something that he signed and he didn't give back. So how I wanted to lead in that, I know we didn't start our segments yet, but I wanted to talk about this because we talked about this yesterday. If we made a track card, right? Like, say there's a track and field trading card. Right now, who do you think in the track and field space, and let's just do professionals because, it gets kind of weird with the college people, even in basketball and football, would be that number 1 card to have? Obviously, Usain Bolt, if you had like a Usain Bolt auto.
That was what I was going to say. Because if you make a product in card space, if it's their first card, it's sought after. So let's look at a guy like Fred VanVleet for the Raptors. Like, he doesn't have a Prism rookie card. So like 2018 is his Prism rookie card, but it's like his 2nd or 3rd year card, but he doesn't have like a rookie logo on it. So like that's his most sought after card. Yeah. So I think it'd be the same. Like, I think you got to like say Usain Bolt, but if you want to go like
a Usain Bolt currently, rookie, 2000,
but
2004?
His rookie cards are out there. Like, I've seen them. Like, I think they're Sports Illustrated potential, like Sports Illustrated for kids are like the rookie cards for him. But I think if you go current, it's got to be Noah
Lyles.
Yeah, I think it's got to be Noah Lyles. He's got the biggest like current cultural relevance, and like as much as we all want to say our event's like the best event, it's always going to come down to the fastest dude in the world. Mm-hmm. Like, we're going to talk a little bit about that and a little bit about like our Olympic kind of the 100 meters in the Olympics. It's like, it's always going to come down to that. And it's like, it really is the turning point. Like the main spotlight of our sport's always going to be the fastest man in the world. So I think it's got to be Noah Lyles right now.
So you would say Noah, and that would be like a Noah rookie card. Let's go back to like, okay, this Olympics happens. Noah wins 100. Is that gold medal card now worth more than the rookie card? Probably. I don't we're making this up because these cards don't exist. But what do you like?
Yeah, I think it'd be because I think it'd be
if you had a gold medal.
I think like if you did do track and field cards, I think you'd have to do like you'd have your like normal like you look at like trading cards like with a picture on it and their name printed and that stuff would be cool.
Yeah.
But I think like because there's not like a rookie, there hasn't been like a continuous like track and field like cards. I think like if you go more of the jersey patch auto cards, so if you take like a jersey he's worn or part of the American flag that he had at the Olympics, and you like you can't cut up an American flag, but like whatever it is, part of the metal sash, like the metal ribbon, like you put it in the card with his autograph on the card. I think that's got to be like, if he wins and runs fast, that's got to be like the number one card, like a patch auto like that.
For sure.
But
okay.
Yeah, I mean we were kind of joking about it. We were just make our own.
Yeah, hey, we might come out with it. We'll dominate the market there. That actually be a good business plan. Alrighty. All
right, so let's get into our segments. Let's get into our segments. Let's start with our weekly rundown, the rundown for the week. This is a segment where we review meet results, big news in the track and field world, whatever we kind of feel like. We just want to bring you guys to the forefront and make you guys aware when it comes down to running, track, etc. First thing has got to be probably one of the better performances of the collegiate season so far. Athing Mu 157.7, smashing the collegiate record by your fellow Duck Raven Rogers. She negative split it.
Yeah.
She ran it a different way than she usually does, dominating fashion. It is April 19th, so she did it April 17th. I think she did it over the weekend.
Yeah.
I mean that is my only concern, but I also have run 143 in April, and I missed the team, but I was also injured to the team. But I had barring injury, I would have been fine. So I don't have any concern for her. I think it's all but up for her. Super exciting to see her almost dominating right now in the 800 meter women's collegiate.
I guess the question is, right, like she runs really fast, and obviously we know she's super talented because she has a big range in the 400 meter as well. Could possibly be on that 4x4 team. Depending on how quickly she runs. I know there's a lot of fast 400 meter runners in the U.S., but what do you think about overall, schedule and how she should plan out her season? I mean, you're the 800 meter runner, so you kind of know, like, how, if you were her in this position, what would you do? Like, do you just kind of chill out until regionals, into your conference meeting?
No, you keep running the 8. You keep running the 8.
Okay. Do you go pro right away, or like you just?
I think you got to go pro this season. I can speak a little bit because did you turn pro early? Or did you finish your eligibility?
I turned pro early too.
So I think I don't know what your experience was like, but my experience of turning pro early was if I go back, can I make up for the money that I'm giving up that I can get right now?
If you run faster.
So an example is say you're signing a $100,000 a year contract. If you give up a year, you're giving up on $100,000. Am I going to be? Can I do anything to earn more than that and beyond? Yeah, that I'm missing out.
Well, no,
I don't know if there's really anything that's she can do. As long as she wins outdoors, she missed indoors, but no one cares about indoors when it comes down to it. I mean, the collegiate record holder indoors for the meet was Alyssa Miller, who she demolished by 3 seconds. So I mean, she's head and shoulders the best athlete in the NCAA probably. As you said, when it comes to middle distance right now. And I think she's got to take her bag, sign her contract, and focus on herself.
Yeah, and I think you make a good point there, especially with athletes trying to decide whether to go pro or not. And obviously, you want to strike when the iron's hot and when you're running well and winning championships. Obviously, it's important to run fast, but a big thing is, being able to compete and win U.S. championships, NCAA championships, stuff like that. And I had this kind of the same scenario my freshman year in college, 2014. I come on the scene, win NCAAs with a meet record, and then 2 weeks later end up winning USAs. And, people are in my ear like, hey, you should go pro, you should do this. I think in the long run, it was good for me because, one, I wanted to play college football. I went to Oregon to play college football and do all that stuff. But, I ended up going pro and track 2 years later anyway. So it's not like you said, it's not, I don't think I lost anything there. Maybe, could have had 2 more years of experience as a pro and stuff like that. But other than that, I mean, I had a great experience playing college football, which I wanted to do. I ended up making the Olympic team in college anyways and running well that season as well. So, and then, then I went pro after that Olympic season. So I guess, like you said, is always kind of trying to decide as an athlete what to do And I know she's super young, but she's super talented. So, I don't think.
Yeah, I think she's gotta turn pro, but she's got to keep running the 8.
Yeah.
Just speaking from experience, like being young, the 800 meters is a tough event where I'm still learning about the 800 meters. And the one thing that I think is hugely beneficial when it comes to middle distance and distance racing in college is learning how to race like a championship racer, and that's what a lot of college races are, at least what they used to be. I kind of look at a guy like Matthew Centrowitz who raced his way through college, and myself and Bryce Hoppel who raced our way through college. We ran a lot of different scenarios, a lot of different races, conference championships, invitationals, NCAAs, etc.
Yeah, just trying to win.
We come onto the professional scene, and we're ready for the USAs and the NCAA or the invitationals as well as the Olympics and the Worlds. I think she's got to just like continue to get that experience. She's obviously extremely talented, has been talented, but she hasn't run enough really to like. She's got to step on the line on the Olympic trials and the final of the women's and have confidence, because as much as she's head and shoulders the best in the NCAA, I mean, you have Raven Rogers who's continually improving. You have Ajay who's a world dominant runner right now, and then there's a slew full of people who are right there that if she's off at all, it's she could easily be fourth at the Olympic trials. And I think it's that 800 meters, the same thing for the men. Like
it's cutthroat.
It's just like you could easily be fourth. Yeah, it's how every event is in the U.S. But the 800, especially for a young runner, it takes one misstep or your mind not to be confident going into that, and you're just writing yourself off.
Cool. Yeah. No, I agree. So. No, but super impressive. We just wanted to bring that up because obviously, like Clayton said, that's probably the performance of the weekend for sure. You want to go into the next performance? We think
so I just wanted to kind of touch on it. Eliud Kipchoge, Mr. Sub 2, Mr. Game Changer of the Nike World Marathon.
Did you watch that Sub 2 thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was just. And I've rewatched. Well, if you haven't rewatched the documentary, rewatch the documentary. Yeah. So he's done it, Italy, and then he did it. He did it on the Monza track.
Yeah,
and then he did it with the. I forget what the second one was. But yeah, he runs 2:04 in his debut for a while. For the year, hasn't run in a while. Runs 2:04. Supposedly looked really easy. I obviously didn't watch it. From what I've read about it, it looked relatively comfortable. Running 2:04, obviously the heavy favorite going into Tokyo for the marathon. But I just want to touch on that. Obviously, we got some marathoners, some road runners listening. So Eliud Kipchoge is back. He is by far the favorite. So let's go to the opposite end of the spectrum, and you can touch on a little bit more of your realm in the sprint events.
Yeah, let's touch base on some of the big meets. Not just college meets, but the Tom Jones Memorial meet in Florida. We had some good sprint performance. Justin Gatlin at age 39 ends up winning the invitational section with, I think, a 9.
Mr. Gray hair and doesn't care.
Yeah, exactly. He's rocking it. But I think he ran, 9.98.
All right, listen to this field. I kept the field up.
Yeah.
Listen to this field, who he beat. Andre DeGrasse. Yep. Kenny Benderrick.
Yep.
Noah Lyles,
okay.
Isaiah Young, Kyrie King, who beat him just like 2 weeks ago.
Yep, and the
Devin Quinn.
Yeah, Devin Quinn.
Yep, Devin Quinn, Jalen Bacon, Joseph Lyles, Jelani Walker, Kendall Williams, Chris Belcher, Jerome Blake, Jareem Richards, Jeff Dimps, Nathaniel Mitchell Blake, Raheem Ford, and Maurice Edie.
Yeah, so
that is a field.
Yeah, all guys that have either been on U.S. teams in the 100 or 200 or the 4x1 and have done well. Obviously, Noah Lyles being the defending world champion in the 200, and then Andre DeGrasse being a medalist.
Silver medalist.
Yeah, the last Olympics, and just being super, consistent with how he competes when he's healthy. So yeah, I mean, those are like we talk about it in the sprint world. We talk about it like as scalps. And those are some big scalps to take. When you
I don't know if you can use your word scalps for a 39-year-old who's scalped about everybody in the world at least once, but I think it's a good jump start to a season for sure.
You know what's funny is I actually have a quick story. 2019 I had like a bit of an Achilles injury, and like Clayton, that lasted through 2019 and 2020. But I had an Achilles injury and I pulled out of Drake in 2019. I hadn't opened up my season yet, so I was put on the wait list in Lausanne, and our agent Paul Doyle was like, "Hey, you're not in the hurdle race, but they got an open lane in the 100." And like I was like, okay, like I'm down to go down there regardless. I had just run like 10:20, 10:26 in March the year before. That was like the last time I ran the 100. So, I was feeling good about my speed. I feel like if I really am fit and get a good 100 run, I could probably be a 10 guy, 10-0 guy for sure. And so I actually ran against Justin Gatlin in that Lausanne 100. I think I ran 10:33 that race, and I think he ran 980 something, 989, and so getting beat by...
You had the best seat in the house for a 9.9.
Yeah, so getting beat by, and I'm not used to, like, my last 100, and 200 and stuff like that, I've in like the Pac-12 championships, I've won. I've run fast and just won those races, so I'm not used to getting beat in those kind of events. So I ran that event and ran 10:3 and got beat by 4/10, and it was pretty not demoralizing. I would say humbling in the sense that those guys are very elite, and we know Justin Gatlin's probably one of the favorites to be on that medal podium at the end of the year for sure.
Yeah, then we had real quick. We just had the other big performance I pulled out of that was just Jasmine Camacho Quinn, 12:32 in the 100 hurdles, putting her 7th all time. That's the second women's performance that puts them second all time. And then the other one was Fred Curley, runs 20.2 in the 200. Trayvon ran in that race as well, opened up. Divine Dory opened up in that. So the sprinters are coming out of the stable.
Yeah, it's pretty good too, and we'll give you some insight. It's a little bit different for collegiate athletes and pros. Usually, on average, collegiate athletes run faster earlier, and that's just because the season's set up that way. They spend a lot of time September, October, November preseason, and then competing December, January, February, March, April, May, June. So for a pro, we might do a couple meets indoors if we run an indoor season, but we're trying to extend our season into June, July, August, September, where most of the pro meets, Diamond Leagues, and stuff like that are going. So to see all these pros running really quick this early is pretty impressive as well. And nothing against the college kids, because the college kids are just equally as impressive. In my event, Grant Holloway ran 13:07 win legal this week to run really quick, and then Trey Cunningham had a PB 13:28, I believe, in that same race. So obviously those guys are running well and flying, but super impressive to see like Fred Curley, who does the 400, to kind of drop into the 100 for one, to run quick 10:03, I believe, and then go move up to the 200 and run 10:20, and then so it's going to bode well for his 400 meter run, we hope, in general, and it's going to be, like we talked about, super competitive with Michael Norman and all those guys that are just the stable of 400 meter guys we have every year anyway. So
for sure. So next one is a little bit still on the sprinting side. Christian Coleman finished his CAS case for his whereabouts failure, missed test, etc. Reduced ban was to 18 months. Eligible to compete November 2021, which means he's for sure missing the Olympic trials, Olympic Games. I guess my question out of this, I mean, it's pretty much wrapped and sealed at this point. When it goes to CAS, there's no other changes to it. It is what it is. But like who? I mean, I think we know who probably it is, but who's the 100-meter favorite going into Tokyo? Because you had to think Christian was one of, if not the favorite, going into the year prior to his whole fiasco.
Yeah, I mean, and we talked about this too. I'm good friends with Christian, so obviously it sucks that he is not going to get the opportunity to run, this Olympics and the whole situation. And we can go on and on about, the drug testing and the whereabouts and stuff like that. But for me, I think the favorite, and we sleep on him a lot, and I like him a lot. Obviously, Noah's going to be a favorite if he decides to run the 100, but Ronnie Baker. And then we have obviously Trevon Bromell, who ran actually some fast races last year. And I think if Trevon can get hot, he's gonna be a force. And those are just U.S. guys. Obviously, there's a ton of guys that I feel like will run fast from the other countries in Europe and Asia and all that. But those three guys,
The islands.
the islands, obviously, no, like. But I'm biased to the U.S. I'm always rooting for the U.S. guys to take the medal. So, obviously Justin Gatlin, he's running well. Noah Lyles, Ronnie Baker, and Trevon Burmell. So we'll see. I mean, that's going to be a fast football one, regardless. I think that's going to be an interesting race to watch in the Olympics as well.
Exactly. Let's get to stick around. And we're probably pretty good.
All right. Speaking of the Olympics, and you brought this up to me, and actually, my coach mentioned this because he was just scrolling through social media, or maybe saw it on Google homepages or something like that, and there was a little bit of a debacle with Japanese Olympic officials, or maybe just like government officials, saying that still a possibility that the Olympics might not go on, and if they do, it still might not be fans. What's your thoughts on this? Obviously, we don't know what's going on, and obviously we're not experts with the COVID. But
I think my two initial thoughts are, one, as far as our season goes this year, I don't think it changes anything. Obviously, last year the cancellation of the Olympics was kind of the straw that broke the camel's back for our entire season. As a whole, pretty much fell apart. I mean, there was spotty beats here or there, but this year, I mean, I think Olympics or not, our season goes on, so I don't think it changes our day-to-day lives as much as it did last year. My second thought is just, I personally think they can make it happen. I mean, I think you just got to be a lot more limited, which is extremely tough when it comes to the Olympics, as part of the Olympics being such a cultural thing when it comes to the world, and including everybody, and inclusion of people from all over the world coming to be a part of this spectacle that is the Olympics every 4 years. I think that's the toughest part about it. But like, I had the article pulled up, and like some of the quotes are not so convincing, or not so
bad, not so negative.
Yeah. It says, if it seems impossible to go on with the games, they must definitely be canceled. This is the official who's, I guess, opposed to it. If there's any surge in infections because of the Olympics, there will be no meaning to have the Olympics. And then they came back and said pretty much like, it is important for Japan to have a successful Olympics. It is a big opportunity. I want to make it a success. We will have many issues to resolve and prepare, and it is important to take care of them one by one. But then I saw an article that like came up as well, that pretty much like President Biden has actually met with Japanese officials to like make sure that things go smoothly. So I think it'll be like everything else in the world right now, drastically different. They've already announced no foreign spectators. I'm guessing that's going to stem down to personal coaches and athlete representatives. Probably it's going to be all federation. We're going to be limited within the bubble of the village, and I think it's just going to be a much different
experience.
Much different experience than what we had in 2016, but also just a much different looking experience when it comes to that whole aura of the Olympics are just going to be slightly different. But I mean, it is what it is, like you said, and I think it's kind of just like it. You just go with your days, and if we hopefully have an Olympics, we have an Olympics. But at this point, you can't really hang your hat on. You can't really hang up on anything. I think that was what 2020 was hanging your hat on things, or trying to hold on for dear life for things. And it's just kind of, at this point, it's just like, if it happens, I'm super excited to be a part of it. But if it doesn't, I understand if it doesn't at this point.
For sure. And I think as professionals, right, we do this for a living. So our goal is to compete and perform well at all the meets that we compete at. So, starting with this weekend at Drake Relays, obviously we want to do well there, and then moving forward on and so forth and forward. And I think overall too, they're going to do as much as they can to make sure the games do go forward and actually happen. But like you said, you can't, just dwell on that, because that'll drive you crazy. And we just want to focus on being ready to run if it does happen. And obviously, like you said, it's going to be different, but we got to experience 2016, so that was a lot of fun. And to be honest, if it meant that we, had to be in a bubble and, just we're in the village and just trained and in the village to compete, then I'm more than happy to do that. And I know, it sucks, but I'd rather do that than nothing. So.
I mean, that's what we do on a regular basis anyway, so it's not like it's drastically
exactly
different. All right. The second weekly segment we have is called The Handoff. For those of you who missed last week, This is a weekly segment called the Handoff where we share something about training, news, fun facts, anything at all with each other. We have a discussion about it. Neither of us know what the other is going to bring each week to the discussion. I believe you went first last week, right? With the you did. You went first last week with the shoe.
I did, but I do have a good one. So if you want to go first,
so
you
want to say? You want me to go first?
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go first.
Yep.
All right. I had one and it grew into another, so it's gonna be like a two for one. Yeah, two for.
Hey.
All right, so
actually, real quick, we should do one, and then the second one could be Patreons. No, I'm kidding. Go ahead.
All right. The first initial thought I had was Formula One.
Okay.
I am addicted to Formula One.
Yep.
I watched the Formula One Drive to Win series on Netflix when Series 1 came out. I watched Series 2 when it came out. I've watched Series 3 when it came out. I'm currently watching the races. I rewatched the race I missed Sunday morning. I recorded it, rewatched it last night. I'm addicted to Formula One. If you haven't watched the series on Formula One, go watch it. It's incredible. But what it came out of and want to have a discussion about is, are all sports literally based around a game of centimeters and inches? Every single sport.
Inches we need.
I couldn't think of a sport that's not, because I was watching those cars. First off, multi-million-dollar projects they are in the cars.
Yep.
Second off, they're going at 200 miles an hour and they're within centimeters, if not touching each other. And most of the time they keep them on the track. So that was my thought of like game inches. But then I was thinking, you shoot a 3-pointer in basketball, it's a game of an inch. Inch to the left, inch to the right, inch long, inch short, you miss. Soccer, you kick a ball left, right, you run, you clip a hurdle by a centimeter. Done. Like every single sport I could think of was a game of literally milliseconds or inches or centimeters. And I think it's just an incredible thing to think about how life-changing and game-changing sports are on a matter of nothing when it comes down to it.
So with what you're saying, I think it comes down to the reason why, it does seconds and centimeters and inches and stuff like that. But I think the reason why sports are so like engulfing and we're obsessed with it as a community and as a whole world is because the skill it takes in each different thing specifically, right? So we watch these race car drivers and like you said, I have actually watched it as well, and actually was talking to some of my buddies on actually Friday. We were like, is it too late to get into the F1? Like, are we too old? Can we just get in the car and go? But for that, right? Like, so that takes a lot of skill to be able to drive with that precision. Takes a lot of like, I'm gonna say cojones to freaking get in that car going 200 miles an hour and doing that job. And it takes a big team. It takes precision parts, mechanics, trainers, coaches, and the driver and all that. And it's pretty much the same thing in every sport. Like you said, track and field is just like that. We're pretty much tuning our bodies to run as fast as possible, just like like a mechanic tunes a car. And then basketball and soccer, everybody's fine-tuned. Steph Curry's fine-tuned to just lock in that 3-point shot. And I think what's so impressive is the amount of skill all that takes. And as a human, especially as an elite athlete, me and you are, we're even impressed by the other stuff, right? We're good at running, and back in the day I used to be pretty good on the football field. But, right, like I watch the Masters, and to see those guys hit the ball like they do, we both love golf. Like, it's so impressive to me. Like, and not, not saying that I'm a better athlete or whatever, but I think I'm a pretty good athlete, but I still can't accomplish the feats that they accomplished. So that's pretty much the thing, is like those guys, each sport is so different. Tennis, Serena Williams and so, just every sport, really, soccer, baseball, cricket, Australian rules football. It's so different, and it takes so much skill in that specific sport. And it's, just kind of the fact that, people dedicate their life to it is super important as well. Like, these people that are the best at the sport dedicate their life. And the one thing that comes full circle, I think, for sure, is, in most sports at least, is running, right? Like, being fast or being able to run is important in all sports that involve a ball, tennis, you got to be quick.
Except for Formula One.
Yeah, except for Formula One. Okay, that's different. And even golf, right? So that's, those are outliers. But tennis, baseball, soccer, basketball, football, even ping pong, you got to be explosive and stuff like that. So, yeah, I think it just the game of inches and millimeters and seconds kind of just attributes. It takes all of its attributes from just the skill it takes and the amount of time everybody spends, and that's why so many fans love it, because it's just like I watch golf. It's because I don't watch it necessarily because I love to watch it, but I like to see like somebody do something that I can't do.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think that's I have respect, like you said, for all the sports. So I'm back addicted to Formula One. I was addicted to Formula One when I watched season 1. When I watched season 2, and I sat down and watched the entire race in Italy on Sunday. I highly suggest anybody who has any thoughts about it to go check it out.
I actually just watched the movie Rush this morning.
Oh, yeah. Really? My buddy and I are about to look at buying tickets for the Grand Prix in Austin, Texas in October.
Yeah, that'd be
so
dope.
If you get addicted, we're there, like the Monaco race this year is like 3 or 4 weeks after the Grand Prix, so the track is still gonna be
up.
Like,
yeah,
they leave up the chicanes and the curbs are still painted and up like all the time.
Yeah, I've seen those.
Because they race the city streets there. They don't race. That's like the one track that's like not a track. It's the city streets.
Yeah, and it's like the shortest one on the circuit.
Yeah,
and,
it's the shortest and narrowest.
I've actually been to Melbourne when the Australian Grand Prix is going on.
Which is the opener of the season.
Yeah. My girlfriend's Australian and she lives in Melbourne, and we actually went to like the Grand Prix gala, which was pretty cool because we were like literally like on the track. So, but I didn't. It was crazy because I actually didn't get to see the race because, like you said, if you watch the show, it's pretty much like a big week leading up to the race, right? They have like testing their cars, and they have a qualifying day.
Practice.
Yeah, exactly. So I could like one of the days I was there, like one of the last days I was there, they were practicing, so I didn't get to see the final race. But one of these years, I'll go out there and enjoy it. So.
All right, what's your handoff for the week?
Okay, my handoff for the week, and this is going to be a little bit controversial, and I want to make sure the reason it's like this is because I want the listeners and viewers to kind of chime in and comment. Send us a message on Instagram or leave a comment on YouTube. But in your opinion, what is the hardest workout in track and field? Because
according to you, it's
week.
every single workout. It's what you do.
Exactly.
It's like, what is your tweet? What's your famous tweet? Like 3x300, hardest workout of my life. Don't at me. Scratch that. 4x300, hardest workout of my life.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, I think it's tough because it's just like, what's the hardest event question?
Yeah.
Like every event.
So let's start with that. What's the hardest?
Because different sports.
800.
No. I think the hardest event, my argument's always been kind of triple jump. And my argument, and I get kind of shot down by this by some other field eventers, and I will be probably. My reason for triple jump is it's one of the events that takes like technique and skill, but also pure athleticism. Like you can't be technically strong, or you can't be like technically good and be good at it, and you can't just be like powerful and fast and be good at it. Like there's 3 whole phases you have to go through. I think pole vault's obviously got to be like right up there with like the kind of second event because it's like the closest to like technical and skill. Like when it comes to like the 100, like you can just be like blatantly fast and like your start cannot mean like jack squat. And same thing with kind of like long jump, like you can just be the fastest dude, best jumper, like, and not really have the technique of landing, and you kind of just get away with it. So that's kind of my thing about toughest event. If you want to go toughest workout, like I guess I gotta go like in my event because I can't speak for other events. It's got to be anything like short rest, like anaerobic, like 800 pace stuff, like
so just
500, 300, 200,
just give me,
like short rest.
Give me your training book. Is that the one? 532, 5-3?
Something like that, like just short rest. Like I've done 5-3s, 5-3-2, 4-3-2s. I will also say that Alberto had some crazy workouts. That there was like a good stretch of about 6 months of my life where I was about like you. Every week or every other week, I walked away from workout and was like, that was the hardest workout of my life. I had a workout where we did pretty much all out 400s back to back to back to back. After doing two 90% 300s, and I was supposed to cool down, and I walked to the turf at Nike. I dropped my bag and I sat down to put my shoes on. I laid back. I had called Ari when I was walking to the turf and laid back on my backpack and fell asleep for 30 minutes on the turf and woke up and had no idea where I was. That's how, like, there was no cool down. There was no stretching. It was like a 30-minute nap post-workout because I was completely like... So, I mean, it's got to be anything short rest. But, I mean, you could literally say, like you say every week, I mean, I could walk on the track next week when I get back from Des Moines and coach is going to be like, that's the hardest workout you've done. I was like, great, here we go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you make a good point. Obviously, the short rest is a big component to how much it hurts, specifically, and, you know, in most events, even the sprints. But for me, so I'm going to give two answers. The hardest workout that I kind of dread every week, and this you know, accounts for like me being in shape and fit and kind of getting after it, is 3 by 350, and that's kind of where I started that Don't At Me. Just because, like, you know, the lactic buildup in a 350 meter run is pretty big, and usually we take good rest, maybe 10 to 12 minutes. But, you know, we try to come through the 300 like 35 seconds, you know, not like, you know, blazing, but for reps is pretty quick. So, you know, try to come through 35 seconds and make our way through the 350, maybe like 41, 42. The second one I'm going to say is going to be a workout that I've done. And this is like the only workout that I have consistently felt like ill and or have thrown up post-workout. And it's 6 by 150. So, and that the rest component I think is the most important because we're trying to run these pretty fast to full speed, like maybe 90%. But the recovery is about 5 minutes because it's a slow walk back. You know, right? So we'll say 150 run and then 250 walk, right? So it's kind of like, you know, you finish and then you kind of just walk. And our coach has a timer on it because we want to be at around 5 minutes for recovery. So usually by the end of that, reps 4 and 5 and 6, I'm kind of feeling a little off. You know, that central nervous system is getting taxed, so to where like I'm not even just tired. I'm just
the head is throbbing, stars are being seen.
I'm just like fatigued, like to the point where I'm like, shoot, I might die here. If he dies, he dies. So yeah, that was my handoff for the week. So, but I do want the listeners to kind of comment what their hardest workout is, and then also leave your event because it could be much different, right? If you're a pole vaulter, it could be like some time workout where you try to take 20 jumps in 10 minutes, which I've heard of. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think every event's different. But that's interesting. Yeah, for sure. Comment below. Comment on Instagram. Let us know kind of what your hardest workout is. And also kind of throw in there maybe what you think the hardest event is. I'm curious also that it kind of goes hand in hand maybe a little bit. All right, so we've mentioned it before. We keep mentioning it in this episode. We're recording this on Monday. It is Drake Relays week. Unfortunately, they haven't released all of the fields yet. So we only have a couple of the highlights to go over outside of our events, and then we'll kind of discuss what we're each kind of looking for to get out of this week. Like I said, we've kind of discussed the professional circuit's a little bit different. We're both kind of opening up. Our outdoor season's kind of getting the ball rolling. So far, they've kind of announced a couple main events as far as Ryan Krauser coming in the shot put, Mr. Indoor World Record holder. You have the outdoor American record holder or world record holder in Kenny Harrison in the 100 taking on Christy Castellan and a slew of others. And then in the women's pole vault, you've got Sandy Morris, Jen Schur, Katie Najat, and Alyssa Newman. Pretty loaded women's pole vault. There always seems to be the shot put, the 100 hurdles, and the pole vault always seem to be star events at Drake. I'm curious to see what other events kind of come up. But I'll let you kind of take it. You're running, you said the 400 hurdles this weekend, right? And you're excited to get after it?
400, 4x4, 800. So I'm getting ready for that. No, I'm doing the 110s, and I actually don't know the field yet, to be honest. So it's going to be a surprise when I show up. So
like, what are you looking for? Like, what kind of give us an insight of like your head going into what you think of an opener, because like obviously everybody kind of looks at an outdoor opener differently. But like, how's training been? How's the body been this week? Kind of leading up, and kind of where's your headspace at, and what are you looking to get out of? Because I'm curious when we come back. We're gonna record some episodes while we're there, record some stuff while we're there. We're super excited about that to bring you guys that. This is a sneak peek, hint hint. But also we're gonna loop back around to this, and I kind of want us to give a little pre-race kind of thoughts, and then a post-race review of this, and kind of give the listeners kind of where your head's at going in, and if you executed maybe or achieved what you wanted to achieve out of it, beyond just the time and the result.
Yeah. Obviously, I want to run fast, and that's number one. Every race I go into, I want a PB. So, but for me, specifically, is just kind of see where I'm at, fitness wise. Coming off injury this last season, kind of progressing into full training here most recently. So, just kind of see if my body holds up for this weekend, because, not that I feel 100%, but at some point you got to run, you got to race. Training's been going pretty well. The days I feel good, things have been going really good. So, overall, I'm excited, and I think I'm going to do well based on, how my training sessions have gone and how I feel overall. But like I said, it's just going to be kind of like a mystery box for me. We don't know what it's going to be. It could be the best thing ever, or it could be complete trash. But regardless, it's my first meet. It's not that big a deal. It's not the end of the world. So what about you, Clayton?
Yeah, so I got the road mile on Wednesday, and then staying in Des Moines for the week, wrapping up my week with the 1,500 on the track at the relays on Saturday. I've done this before in 2017. I did the same thing. It's a fun little week. Obviously, different vibe, different Drake relays, different course for the road mile this year. So I'm excited to kind of race the different course. It's a little more technical of a course, if you can kind of say. There's a lot more turns. You finish on the track. You make a jog kind of into the entrance. So I'm excited about that. For me, the road mile is kind of my rust buster time trial. Usually a lot of people kind of, especially distance wise, do some kind of time trial previously to racing. I'm kind of using this road mile as my time trial opener. And then the track race is going to be, I've been working a lot with like my strategic mindset going into races about just handling things a little better, handling the pressures I put on myself. And I'm going to kind of use this week as kind of two opportunities to really practice that and really reflect on that going into the season. Obviously, kind of like you, I want to run fast. I want to see where I'm at, but I also want to use this as a stepping stone and a learning point going into it. Because at the end of all, Drake Relays is just a meet in April comparative to the Olympic trials. That's the Olympic trials in June. So as much as I can take away from this beyond just the performance itself is kind of what I'm trying to look at is how my body responds to racing 2 times in a week, how my mindset is pre-post races, just really trying to do really deep dive into things and make sure that I'm primed and ready to go. Because I've been thinking a lot is like, yeah, I had a somewhat normal indoor season last year in 2020. It was ended abruptly by COVID and by an injury. And this indoor season was just not a normal season. I got injured in the first meet and pre-race, which made it difficult to really want to get back on the track. So I hadn't really put together true training segments because 2020 was obviously, I moved across the country. I was injured like another time in the fall. So I had a bunch of up and downs in 2020. It's been since before Doha since I put together a string of legitimate races and legitimate training. And the last like couple weeks have been legitimate training. So I'm excited to kind of now tack on legitimate meets and racing and kind of put the whole pie in the oven and see what comes out type deal.
Yeah, and like you said, it's important just to race. Like we were talking about with, everybody running fast and the, 800 meter collegiate record. It's good that you run fast, but it's important to kind of like practice racing, especially in your event. In my event, it's a little bit, because it's just a go and there's no strategy other than trying to run as fast as you can. But in your event, the 800 and the 15, it's super, super important to practice strategy, practice, positioning, where you want to be to make a move.
There's a lot of time to think.
Exactly.
There's a lot of time to think.
100%. So I think that's good that you're going to get 2 races in. And I think the more the merrier. And to be honest, for me, the more the merrier. racing wise, as long as my body holds up. So we'll see.
Yeah, I think I'll kind of let an insight here into people listening, especially distance runners itself. I kind of look at distance running and racing as how long can you keep your hand on a hot stove? Like there's that point where you want to take it off, but there's that point where you can keep it on a little longer and push that envelope a little bit further and push your limits. And that's something that's like an acquired taste and acquired skill to want to continually do that, is to see how far your body can go and your mind will push you. And so I think that for me is something that I haven't been able to do in a while, whether workouts just have been limited because of injuries or etc., weather, indoors, whatever the limit was, but the kind of that cap's been taken off the last couple of weeks, and now with racing there is no limit, there is no hold back. It's put my hand on the hot stove and see how long I can keep it there for a mile. So I'm excited to be able to kind of test myself and see if what I've been doing has paid off at all, pretty much.
Great. No, that's good. No, it's exciting, and especially, Drake Relay said they're going to have some fans there, which is going to be kind of new for us most recently, to have fans, which is going to be awesome. And, just to be at an elite level meet again is going to be fun. Just because like you said, Clayton, it's been a year, since we've had
I'm excited to just travel. Like that was my thing with like American Track League indoors. Like I'm excited to just get on a plane, pack my bag, like pack the spikes, like get off the plane, go to pre-race and see people there, and like I'm ready to like dap you up, dude, when we get to the hotel and we go get dinner and like we have a normal meet, Like I think there's so much more to track and field, because it's like you race for 10, 15 seconds and I race for 2 minutes, and it's like, but what goes into it is 24/7 work. And to be able to enjoy meets is part of the like reward of what we do every day. And so I'm excited to just be able to I'm so excited to have meets on the calendar. I'm so excited to have a schedule and get to know where I'm going to travel potentially. Yeah. And it's just like,
have a plan.
That's like, the Olympics is awesome and all. And obviously I want the Olympics to happen. And I kind of been coming off a little negative about it, but like, I'm just so excited to have a season laid out and like a Diamond League final on the schedule. And the fact that I'm going to go to Europe for a couple weeks, like, all that stuff is just like, I'm just ready to go, and I'm just like itching at the bit to like put the spikes on and get after it.
Hey, I couldn't say it better myself, my friend.
Hey, just got the Delta upgrade for the flight.
You just got the notification.
Yeah.
I'm actually,
the notification for Saturday.
I'm actually flying. I'm not flying Delta, which it doesn't suck, but I usually fly Delta, so I would get an upgrade, but. Delta stops over.
Peasant.
So I'm taking a straight flight from.
Peasant.
I don't even know.
Peasant.
I don't even know where I'm flying from now. I'm flying from DC and straight into Des Moines. So
are you flying Spirit, where you have to fly the plane, or are you on a little bit of a middle class like United Airlines?
Hey, don't hate on Spirit. There's been plenty of good flights where I'm trying to get somewhere.
Have you seen that meme? Have you seen that meme where? It's like the announcer of the plane's like, oh, ladies and gentlemen, please put your bags underneath the seat in front of you. That includes the Louis Vuittons you have in your lap, and we all know those are fake because you're flying Spirit Airlines.
No, don't hate on Spirit. Hey, hey, there's been plenty of times, Clayton, that we in Europe we've flown WOW Airlines.
Maybe Mitch can find the memes. Maybe Mitch can find the memes of where the dude like falls out of the dude jumps out of the balcony of his house and lands, and it's like when Spirit drops you off your destination.
Hey, real quick. Shout out Mitch Modine. He's a professional decathlete. No free shout outs, but shout out because that's my boy. He has a YouTube channel. I'm gonna point right here. He's gonna post it here, and also he's gonna add some flames if he can. If he doesn't add any flames, then I take back.
Don't click the YouTube link. Because he's putting the YouTube link in, but the flames could be.
All right. But yeah, that's all we have for this episode of the Track Boys podcast. Clayton, do you have anything else that you want to say? Do you want to? I think we should come up with like a short segment or inspirational quote or just like a sentence to leave everybody with.
You just came up with that segment, so you got it this week. I'll think of a quote next week. You got a quote this week. Here, I'll say my little thing, and then you can close it out. Okay. I just appreciate everybody's support. Like I said, last week was very rushed to try to get everything out, but we just want to get the ball rolling on this, and we've got a lot of cool plans for this, a lot of cool ideas. Both Devin and I have individual ideas for ourselves to go under this Track Boys production group. And we really want to grow this. So if you guys have ideas, suggestions, what you guys like seeing, what you don't like seeing, leave a comment, send a DM. The Instagram page is going to grow. Like I said, we really just wanted to get last week up. Instagram page with Flames here.
Let's see how good Mitch is. I don't know, because I don't know if he can.
But I appreciate the sports apart. I've had a lot of people reach out and say they enjoyed it. So continually sharing it with your homies, with your friends, with your family, with your teammates. And I'll be back next week. We'll be bringing you guys some live content from Drake Relays. Maybe we'll even go live one day at pre-race or something like that. Show you guys an insight from the Track Boys podcast page. So hint, hint, wink, wink, follow the Instagram page. But I appreciate it, and I'm glad we got the ball rolling on this, Devin.
All right, everybody. Thanks again for being here. I'm going to leave you off with one little thing of inspiration. And here's my quote or inspiration for the week. Shout out Bradley Laubacher. You know who you are. 2 things people love, but they don't want to watch being made: hot dogs and champions. Peace out.
Track Boys Podcast. Track Boys Podcast. By Clayton and Devon.